This is the year Israel turned 70. Celebrations big and boisterous.
Hallelujah!
President Trump's decision to move the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem seen by some Israelis as another reason to celebrate.
We welcome you officially and for the first time to the Embassy of the United States here in Jerusalem, the capital of Israel. Thank you.
美国给了以色列一座大使馆，却让和平的希望破灭。仅仅相隔40英里，两个截然不同的场景。
In Gaza, protesters were dying by the dozen as the new U.S. Embassy opened in Jerusalem.
A human tide of protest against the U.S. Embassy opening.
Today we officially open the United States Embassy in Jerusalem. Congratulations.
President Trump appeared by video to celebrate the new embassy location, 5 months after he formally recognized the city as the capital of Israel.
This is history, President Trump. By recognizing history, you have made history. What a glorious day. Remember this moment.
这一页历史是用2000多名巴勒斯坦人的鲜血所写下。
Israeli security forces first fired tear gas into the crowd and dropped it from drones. Then they opened fire.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the sound of a bullet shot by the Israeli forces. Hi, this is Ahmed Ghunim. We're here in the Malaka camp, one of the 5 main protest epicenters in the Gaza Strip, in this march today. So once again, as we see here, the people have gathered because a lot of people have been injured, serious injuries, bullets to the knees.
Most of the injuries are below the knee. Israeli soldiers have orders to aim at ankles, and many of the people we see here will leave on crutches, some with permanent disabilities.
عندي ولدين مصابين. قلت لهم ما تروحوش، يعني قد ما تقول له بدها ما تروحش الولد بده يروح.
اليهود بيرموا علينا غاز زي شايف انت يعني.
وانت بتعمل ايه وانتوا بترد عليهم بالغاز؟
لا بنرجعها ورا عشان الناس اللي هنا ما ياكلوهاش يعني.
طب انت خايف ولا مستمر؟
من ايش اخاف يعني؟ هدول جبنة يعني.
The confrontations are ongoing. The Palestinians are trying to help each other recover from the injuries. However, the Israelis have been relentless in terms of shooting tear gas, in terms of shooting protesters. You can see them there at a distance in their outpost. There's also trucks, Israeli army trucks, shooting the protesters behind the burning tires.
Some protesters praying amid the chaos, a striking scene.
On quieter days, ambulances would wait for a call to come in, directing them to the injured. But today, it seems like everywhere they go, there's someone to be picked up.
Nobody we saw being carried off had appeared to be armed. We were there for several hours.
How do you feel about the people that have been killed?
In Gaza, they are terrorists.
All of them?
All of them.
The funeral of 8-month-old Layla Al-Handor. Her tiny body wrapped in a Palestinian flag. Carried through the streets of Gaza City, she's become a symbol of the grief of a community.
Israel has come under growing international pressure over the deaths of Palestinians during the 6-week-old Gaza protests. It says it is simply defending its citizens.
They said their troops had come under fire from elsewhere in Gaza, though no Israeli soldier has been reported injured in the last 6 weeks of protests.
加萨的巴勒斯坦人自3月30日开始发动一场为期6周的长期抗议，原定到5月15日，巴勒斯坦浩劫日70周年当天为止。但是以色列不给他们这个机会，在浩劫日前一天，也就是美国新使馆揭幕当天，爆发了这场2014年以来最血腥的冲突。
There are casualties coming back from the fence. Some of them have been shot, and it is utter chaos here. protesters, including 6 children who were reportedly killed today, seem to be losing their lives for nothing. Hakam Abu Shanab, who wants to study for a master's degree, believe dancing with death is the only way to show their desperation.
You have a very bright future. Are you willing to die here?
Dying here is the only way, or expressing, or at least expressing our feeling to the world, show them that we are dying every day here.
他们不怕死，因为生不如死。
It's 2005. Israel withdraws from Gaza, but continues settlements in the West Bank. The West Bank and Gaza are now under separate leadership. Israel imposes a blockade restricting any form of movement by land, air, or sea.
Young people here are frustrated. They have spent 11 years growing up under an Israeli and Egyptian siege. They say they feel suffocated. There are no jobs. Unemployment is over 60%. And that's the highest rate in the world.
No one can accept living under this siege. There is no light at the end of the tunnel.
In a UN warehouse, they are unloading flour, cooking oil, sugar and dried milk. Rations which keep Gaza afloat. It costs about $80 million a year to keep half of Gaza's population alive. But in January, the Trump administration announced that it was cutting $90 million from the UN's budget, both here and in the West Bank.
They've taken away our future. Palestine has 2 million people, with many generations after me to take my place.
You're smiling when you talk to me, but this could be a matter of life or death.
What's the problem? There is no difference in dying. We're dead already.
On the fringes of Gaza City lives Nahed Shweik with her unemployed husband and 6 children. They're so poor that they have sold their fridge, cupboard and beds, along with part of their UN aid, for cash. Nahed blames her years of poverty for her wanting to take her own life.
A year ago was the first time I tried to use a knife. Then I tried poison. I don't want to go out. I don't want to see anyone. I feel as if I'm suffocating.
Suicide is not only illegal here, but forbidden in Islam. Next week will be Ramadan, she says. I hope I can make the meal. I have nothing in the house. These women are in a UN mental health clinic, an escape from being trapped at home. I'm nervous about raising a subject as sensitive as suicide. How many of you would say you have even thought about taking your own lives? But to my surprise, more than a third put their hands up.
Hallelujah. 以色列邀请驻以色列的86个国家外交使团出席，不过大部分国家都没有参加。欧洲除了匈牙利、罗马尼亚和捷克派代表出席之外，西欧国家无一人出席。
The reaction around the world has varied. Saudi Arabia and Egypt have condemned Israel for what they describe as violent use of force against Palestinian civilians. South Africa and Turkey have removed their ambassadors to Israel. Turkey has also withdrawn its ambassador to the U.S. Russia, the UK, and France say they disagree with the embassy move, and Iran says this move will speed up Israel's annihilation.
更可恶的是，死了这么多人，流了这么多血。其实耶路撒冷的新美国大使馆只是一个临时地点，美国仍在寻找合适地点，修建永久性的大使馆。未来这个风光揭幕的美国新使馆，只处理护照和签证等业务，仅有包括大使在内少数职员会迁入新馆。
When President Trump makes a promise, he keeps it.
Palestinians say that promise has sabotaged their dream of a Palestinian state with Jerusalem.
Jerusalem is the capital of Palestine, not the capital of Israel. No Israel but Palestine. Palestine, 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 Palestine.
纽约时报是这么说的：新使馆是川普的胜利，却是和平的绊脚石。
As we have seen from the protests of the last month and even today, those provoking violence are part of the problem and not part of the solution.
Jared Kushner's appointment as his father-in-law's Middle East advisor was an early signal of how the Trump administration would handle one of the world's most contentious hot zones.
Looking back on yesterday, especially Gaza, anything you would have done differently?
Well, I wish that it wouldn't have happened at all. I mean, Hamas is pushing people with a view of a massive infiltration into Israel. openly declaring their goal is to destroy Israel.
So they're paying them to?
Yes.
To try to cross the border?
Hamas is paying these people who are coming. We try to minimize casualties. They're trying to incur casualties in order to put pressure on Israel, which is horrible.
Did your army go too far?
I don't know of any army who would do anything differently if you had to protect your border against people who say, we're going to destroy you and we're going to flood into your country. You try other means. You try all sorts of means. You try non-lethal means and they don't work, so you're left with bad choices.
Do you see yourself under any circumstance talking to Hamas?
As long as they seek our destruction, what am I going to talk about? I mean, if somebody said, could you talk to Al-Qaeda? Would you have discussions with bin Laden? About what?
Bibi's intentions are not just geopolitical. At home, he's been trying to distract attention from recent corruption allegations as he moves closer and closer to an indictment.
5月14日，以色列建国70周年。这一天，巴勒斯坦死了60多人，2700多人受伤。若从3月30日游行开始日起算，伤者已破11000人。他们都忘了收刀入鞘吧。凡动刀的必死在刀下。
May there be peace.